Hello, everybody. Welcome back to THP Plus on a Monday morning. Great to have all the guys in the studio. Wale is here, replacing IBK, who's probably on the road in his new job. About Monday is pretty much a week before his baby wakes up, which is pretty much our ultimatum. And of course, Luckily Refy joins us as well on a Monday morning. Luckily, has been the most consistent member of the podcast on the Monday morning. So it's great to have everybody here, gentlemen. It's been a really good weekend. Nice reconnaissance on all the teams. Hate Sports was really good. So let's begin and feast. Right. Um, somebody say ice go Palmer, but you see ready run. Oh. Somebody say nothing concern Chelsea. Nothing concern Chelsea concern Premier League. Now back a high line. Oh, like crazy, man. But I feel like this is what Liverpool enjoy every weekend. Every weekend, I want Liverpool to enjoy this. Everywhere they smile, everywhere we all soft. I say, I've been missing out on a lot. I've been missing out. I'm telling you.
Don't worry, they could. Don't worry, they could soon collect. You know too far. They will soon collect. They are locked. They are locked.
That last time, if I say, I'm betting run, I say,
Brentford don't go put roadblock like this. They wait.
No worry. Let's enjoy 7 days. Let's enjoy 7 days.
No, there's a game tomorrow. You enjoy 2 days. 2 days.
No. There's no game. We need to play. We're not playing. We're not involved.
Okay.
We're not involved. We're playing 1 game a week. 38 games only. We don't play, Baba. We don't play. We're very focused.
You know waiting for me pass. You know waiting for me pass for that match. Obviously that match, different madness they go on. But you see, when Chelsea scored that 2-1, I'm going to stand up straight. Say, what did they happen for here? All I want to lose this lead again. They happen for here. He begin shouts. What did they work about for inside that field?
But I want Pami. So Pami.
Oh God, they want to kill this guy,
bro. Somebody say Arsenal timeline, Arsenal Twitter. They tweet say we fight until the end. Somebody reply say maybe try starting fighting from the beginning. Maybe you start that. Yeah. Start from the beginning. Let me see. But I want us to start there.
You didn't fight till the end. Fight from the beginning. Useless people. You won't raise my blood pressure.
It was not on the episode now when we're talking about how expensive the game would be. So me, I was of the opinion that Arsenal won this game last season. They still didn't win the league. So in terms of like winning the league, the game is not as dire, right? But possibly might be more important for City in terms of like where they are and trying to be and not the City that we used to know. So it's like maybe an important game for them to say, you know what, we need to win this game to help us mentally, psychologically, the team, new crop of players, some of them playing in the Premier League for the first time. But I have to set this agenda before we move. See, if it's 2 ways for me. Obviously, if this was a different game, everybody start banging on about. If the case was reversed, everybody starts banging on about how this other person, enemy of football, around football, this, that. But I thought in that conversation, now I need you guys to understand me. I don't have a problem with how City played. It's what we have always talked about over the years. Guardiola knew that Arsenal were better than them. And that's why every time we always talk about teams that come to sit deep against City, it comes from the realization that you know that you can't go pound for pound with that team. And that's what we've talked about year on year. Yesterday, Pep knew and Arsenal were better than them. City couldn't get out of their box every time they tried to play. Like, it was that bad. And that's why they decided, look, we're going to sit and we're going to hit on the counter. They did the same counter-attacking thing against Manchester United. So I personally don't have a problem with how City played. It's brilliant for me. It's smart. But in terms of like what the narrative has been over the years, that was the horrible setup from Pep in terms of like they didn't want to play. They just wanted to use Doku or Haaland to get off the pitch. That it wasn't the one. Exactly, that's the point. People attribute things to him. Not that he's not a brilliant manager. He's a fantastic man. He's a brilliant manager. He's one of the goats. But people, the reason when we overrated is because not because he's not a good manager as people say he is. It's just because people attribute things to him that and say he invented them when he's not the one that invented them. That's what we're talking about. So when you look at that performance yesterday, I want to give Arsenal credit and they deserve credit. But I'm also of the opinion is the sixth year of the manager being able to play City and having City's back to the wall like that shouldn't be what gets you happy anymore. You have to win the game, right? So that's why I don't give Arsenal, a lot of accolades as well. You are going to a place where I've been banging on about it. You're the best team in the league. The way they play City yesterday just shows that they're the best team in the league. I can put my money on the fact that if Eze starts that game, Arsenal scores at least 2 goals, in my opinion. Because again, the equalizer Arsenal scored, it felt as if City didn't believe with how the game has gone. They didn't believe that anybody could play that pass. Oh, no, don't worry. They will pass it out. They will come again. We'll set up in our low block. And then Eze pings one up the top. And then it's a goal. So in terms of that narrative that has always been there before now, it was a horrible show from City. Completely horrible. Anti-football, enemy of football, whatever you want to call it. It was that bad. Are you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Go on,
Can I go?
Go on.
Yeah. So I completely agree with Rufai. I completely agree with Rufai. I just feel like when you watch that game back again, and you think that the way Arsenal approached the game from the start of the game, obviously with Merino starting in an attacking situation, was very timid in my opinion. I thought that City were there for the taking, and I said this against Liverpool, and because when teams come up against Arsenal, particularly this Arsenal, you would think that they would show a bit of respect to you. The quality of players you have in the midfield area, in the attacking area, they will show a lot of respect to you. And I feel like that yesterday's game, and the same thing with the Liverpool game, is on the manager. How Arsenal didn't win that game yesterday. Maybe we didn't deserve to win it against Liverpool, but we also didn't deserve to lose. But against Man City yesterday, Arsenal should have won that game. And the reason Arsenal didn't win the game is the manager has gone for safety instead of going for aggression. I'll say this again. I usually don't like to be very hurried in making opinions, very hurried in making my assessment. But it's beginning to feel like Arteta is not going to be the guy. And he's a brilliant manager in terms of setting a team up structure-wise, discipline-wise. I don't think there's any better manager in Europe, in my opinion, in that sense, where he makes it hard for you to break them down. City had how many touches in Arsenal's area? Liverpool are the best attacking team in England. They had only 16 touches in the Arsenal box. So in terms of setting a team up and making it very hard for you to break them down, there's not a better manager in Europe. But I'm beginning to feel like that's the only thing he knows. That's why there's an obsession with buying defenders. That's the only thing he knows. That's why, in terms of, and if you set up teams like that, and they say defensives win you tournaments, but if you're going to score goals to win football matches, if you're going to score goals to win games and win the league, Arteta doesn't know how that other part of the game, in terms of being expansive, being expressive at the final third. That's why when in the big games, he just reverts to time. He just like, okay, let me have this safety. I'd like to have this safety because when he plays Merino, I understand the thinking why he plays Merino. He's not just playing Merino because obviously Merino is very good at the top end of the pitch in terms of arriving late in the box, headers. He's a brilliant finisher. I understand why he plays Merino, but he's not just playing Merino because of that quality that Merino has. He's playing Merino because deep inside of him, he believes that Merino is an extra body in that deep line midfield. When we're back against the wall, that's what he's thinking. But you don't need that. Why you don't need that is you have Declan Rice, there are very few selfless players in the game like Declan Rice. He sacrifices for himself. Declan Rice doesn't want to be in the newspapers in the morning. He just wants to work for the team. You have Declan Rice. You have Zubimendi in that defensive area. What you need is someone at the top end of the pitch who can get the ball on the half turn and begin to wreak havoc. When you go for Merino, what you're telling me from the beginning of the game is you are hoping that we are safe enough and somehow we find the quality at the top end to win the game. And that, for me, is a weak mentality to go into a game against City. And I feel like Arteta, if he doesn't change, if he doesn't sit down and evaluate himself and ask himself the right questions, I don't think he will last in this job.
Look, I totally agree with you. I watched. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I watched this morning. I was on our YouTube page and I was watching the post-match analysis you made about Liverpool, and I could have picked that same analysis and reposted it for today, right? And it would have been accurate, because I think this is the team that you've beat. This is the team that you, in the last 5 games or thereabouts, I think that we made a podcast episode where we said we think that Arsenal have done. They've wrestled power from Man City, right? In terms of the mentality shift, Man City don't have that thing over them anymore. They don't have that thing over them anymore. It used to be there where there was they would see Man City and they would shudder. But they've wrestled that control away. And we made the point on the podcast and said that, unfortunately, it has come at a time where Man City are no longer the best team in the land, right? So whilst they were figuring out Man City and wrestling power from them, Liverpool snuck up and became the best team in the country, right? So we made that analysis. I don't know if you remember, but for a team that you beat 5-1 last year and you were pretty comfortable, and every time you played them, you were comfortable, I think that going into this game, especially against the City team that are not as strong as the City team that Arsenal beat last year, are stronger than this team this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And Arsenal are stronger this year than they were last year.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So if that is true, how can you then justify the double insurance policy of going out and setting up that way? So what I see Arteta doing is that he's not the kind of guy that builds momentum. He pretty much finishes one game and starts the next game from zero. Right? Because the Arsenal team needs momentum. The team needs to start rolling. It's like when you put a ball on the top of a mountain, right? The team needs to start rolling it has to start having like a domino effect. But what he does is that when every game finishes, he parks the car with the handbrake, right? And I think that Arsenal need to stop. That needs to stop for the team to progress. The team needs to go into every game now thinking that we're like an avalanche. We're like a volcano, right? But what it does is that when the game finishes, and it's okay to play game on per game basis, but I think that is important when you are in the Champions League, right? Or you are in the final 5-6 games of the season, where you now start playing games on a per game basis. But you cannot be 5 games to the season and you are playing with the fear that we're going to drop points. Because I don't know any team that's won the league that way. I don't know any team that has won the league starting very slowly. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. When Leicester won the league title, Leicester were like an avalanche. Like, they were rolling. It was on the last 10 games, they started winning 1-0. The West Morgan goal, the odd, Dan Hood's goal here, the odd Riyad Mahrez 1-0, the odd free kick. That's when you start relying on those tactical ingenuity. But for me, at the start of every season, the team that needs to win the league, and Arsenal did it 2 years ago. So they don't. It's not something that they don't know how to do. They know how to do it. Where Arsenal should start games very fast, very quickly. They will fly out the blocks. They will go bang, 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 and settle the game in the first 20 minutes thereabouts.
True.
But now they start the game slow and look to figure it out as the game goes. I don't think I win the league like that.
No,
Because no matter how good you are as a team, go for it.
So I was sitting yesterday. You know, when I saw the lineup, I was so pissed because I was like, why has this guy done this thing again? He did it at Liverpool, it didn't work. And he's gone and done it again. Why would he think that Merino would give him more in this kind of game than Eze would give him? And make no mistake about it. I think Merino is tactically a very good footballer. You know, I like him. I think he's a Spanish guy. You know, he has a bit of flair. But Merino does not have intensity. You know, he looks like on the ball, he's not quick. So when he gets the ball, instead of progressing the ball, he would rather turn it and pass it. You know, he twerks a lot. He twerks a lot on the ball a little bit, and that for me is not very good. What I was thinking yesterday, an analogy that got into my head yesterday was, you are trying to go to Abuja from Lagos by road, and you have a Hilux truck, and you have a Toyota Camry saloon car. And because the Toyota Camry looks very nice, you think that Toyota Camry will take you to Abuja faster or more effective than a Hilux truck in this on Nigerian roads. That's what Arteta did yesterday. He believes that Merino he is a body in midfield and also arrives late in the box and can score from a corner, he can score from a free kick.
I don't know if you sorry to cut you. I don't know if you noticed. And I think what you said is on point, because I think that's all Arteta knows. You see, even when he brought on Eze, I don't know if you noticed. Even when he brought on Eze, you know, he played Eze in the right half space where Odegaard would normally play. That's where he played Eze. And usually he would play Declan Rice in the left half space. You see, when Eze came on, he played Calafiori in the left half space. Calafiori was inverting into the left half space. That's how much.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's how much Arteta wants defensive stability. Even when Eze came on, he was so scared of the lack of off the ball of Eze that he made sure that Zubimendi and Declan Rice remained in front of the defense line. So the guy in his mind is about, see, if the ball fall to Merino, he can finish. Nobody saying go hustle, go find the goal by himself. If the ball fall to him, he can finish. But he can also hold on to the ball for us, so we are good. If we no score, maybe they no score us. That's all that goes on in the guy's head. Because I don't understand it at this point. Because when I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said, the guys who want to score goals, the guys whose entire game ideology, game branding is about getting goals and scoring goals and finding. When they play a game of 90 minutes and they don't score and they don't create, when the game ends, even if the game ends 0-0, they feel like they have failed. That's the difference. When they play a game, it's like when Bruno plays a game, he wants to, I must score. He's a goal hunter. It's different from when you play someone that, if he finds himself in that position, he can finish. It's different. You know?
Yeah. It is, I make the point. I think we make this point over and over again, right? I don't know if everybody can hear me, but I want us to. I mean, I think that is being quite clear. But for me, it was the first time I saw Eze play in that. Like, I want to ask one question, and Arsenal fans and Tunji has been very. We have a small group where Tunji is in, and we'll be going having back and forth. And I want to ask one question to anybody who thinks otherwise. Would any other player in that team, right, have picked that pass that Eze picked?
No chance, bro. No,
right?
Like there is nobody
at the depth of the game, right? where the space, like if you look at, I looked at the area. I saw a clip where I was looking at the aerial view of the system, right? All the Man City players were in position,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
in terms of if you are looking at it from a horizontal point of view, you can't see any spaces through. So in terms of tactical discipline, everybody was disciplined.
Yes.
But just that mind to force the issue. The guy played the pass thinking, you know what? What's the worst that can happen here?
Like we're losing
Right.
1-0. What's all this passing it
We're losing
around?
1-0. Right.
Guess what? In the first half, because I've watched the game again. In the first half, and people are overly critical. People are overly critical of Gyökeres, and obviously Gyökeres is not really, he's not smooth on
We'll
the
get
eye.
there. We'll get there.
But hold on.
Relax.
In the first half, obviously, in the first half, Gyökeres makes that type of run that Martinelli made. He makes that exact same run, and I don't know, it was Merino on the ball. Merino picks the ball. Gyökeres runs.
Yeah.
He breaks the Man City line and runs into a space like that. All Merino needed to do was clip the ball over. What did Merino do? He turned and I think he passed to Zubimendi, and Gyökeres was very pissed. That's why you need a. Odegaard does the same thing. Odegaard used to, but he does these days. He does that thing where somebody makes a run and he, instead of him to play the pass, he chops it back. I'm in an Arsenal group where I was telling somebody. Sorry if I was in an Arsenal when I was telling somebody. I said, "Do you know the signing Arsenal would have made this summer, or at least attempt to make, that would have sent every title rival to panic? Arsenal should have gone to Man United and offered 100 million for Bruno. Because in my opinion,
two years ago.
Arsenal should have gone to Man United and offered Bruno 100 million pounds, offer him the best paid player at the club, because Gyökeres, for all the criticism we give of Gyökeres, if you sit down and watch the game and not from a banter point, the runs Gyökeres makes, he peels off defenders, but nobody's playing that kind of pass because everybody's just taking one extra touch. Everybody's just moving the ball instead of a striker is making a run. Just play the pass in that space.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that. In my opinion, it's on the manager. The manager has to. He has to find a way to get this team playing in a more penetrative way, in a more aggressive way in the final third, and not just passing and just being safe.
You see, someone was telling me that before Eze made that pass, they say Arteta they call him. They say Arteta they call him from. They say Arteta they call him from touchline. They try to tell him something. Answer
What are you calling me for?
Answer Arteta. Now he carry that ball. Now he play that pass.
What are you calling me for?
What are you calling me for?
I don't bet you. I've been on the bet for you since. But you don't tell me now. You don't tell me since. Leave me alone, please. On the pitch now. Your power over me has ended.
What do you want of?
What do you want to tell me? I've been on the bench with you since.
And you know the funny thing? You need the funny thing. Players like that, when players like Bruno, players like Eze, players like Cole Palmer, players like Kevin De Bruyne are players that they don't need too much instruction in the game. They don't need too much instruction. They don't need too much instruction in a game. What you want them to do is, obviously, if you want, when we lose the ball, make sure you're in shape. That's basically what they need. When we lose the ball, make sure we're in shape. That's all they need. But in terms of attacking, Eze is a player that when Eze picked that ball up, all he did was get his eye up. And he could see Martinelli. He said, you know what? I'm going to play the ball into the space. Martinelli has space. He's going to get to that ball. And the weight of the pass is just perfect. That's what he can do. So imagine starting that kind of player. Did you see the few times Eze got on the ball and jinked past Man City players, 2 or 3 players in like, that's what you needed to start the game with. And you've come to start Merino. And see, what Arteta goes see this season.
So I want to say two things, and two things, and if I can go and we can wrap up on Arsenal. And the first thing is the first one is about the point he has made about Maverick players that have that. You see, football, last, has become a very global sport. So with the amount of money in it, data, analysts, all these things, coaching, minuscule detail, microanalysis, is all great for the game. But at the end of it, right, football is that game where there's a football, there's a guy who dares to imagine something in his brain, right, and he has the confidence to do it, right. That's that's what it's all about. And I said that because players like like Eze in the Arsenal team, for example, right? You can coach them all week. This is how we move. When the ball shifts from this side to this side, this is what we do. This is how we operate, right? But you see, in terms of chattering to a player, I think that the modern game is at huge risk. Watch Isco. I want to use Isco, for example. There are few things a coach can tell Isco about operating in the final third when he is 12 years from goal. I don't think there's anything a coach can tell Isco. Right? When I can see the goal, I can see the guys around me, my special awareness is now in hyper slow-mo. For players like that, they are in everybody's chaotic, but they are seeing things in a bit more slow-mo. I think that we have to stop that thing where you are trying to overcoach Maverick players.
Yeah.
And allow Maverick players. Only anything. I don't know if you saw the clip that Premier League posted on Instagram. When last week in the Manchester Derby, Kobe Mainoo held the ball and shimmy past 3 Man City players. Pep did like this. Right? What I'm trying to say is that, you see, that is not, you have not calculated for that in your analysis, in your formation plan. You didn't calculate for, they plan now and say, this guy don't destroy 4 players, so he has now created from a 4v4 position, he has created a 2v4. That kind of thing. Do you understand? So I think that we need to be very, very careful with players like that. The second one on the lighter notes, I beg, before we go forward, before we go far, right? We first talk, they go. They say Pogba, Bruno, Eze don't enter again, I beg. Let this be the last episode this happens. Let's not be talking about, when we talk about Bruno, let's not put it, I don't say don't enter small. You don't put Eze inside Bruno, come on, I beg.
No.
After this episode, I beg.
No.
We won't allow it.
Of course.
Right.
Bruno has done.
But Eze has the key to be a really, really special player at Arsenal.
Of course.
And I think that if I think that what he did yesterday was make I even show now why I deserve to play this middle.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Let me just I just play for 12 minutes or maybe 15 minutes. Let me just show you guys what I can do in the middle. Odegaard does not make that pass, my brother. Odegaard cannot make that pass.
I know he doesn't. He doesn't. The Odegaard of 3 years ago will make it. But this Odegaard...
Probably. This Odegaard will not make the pass. And again,
Odegaard will pass the ball to either Saka or will pass the ball to the player next to him. He doesn't see it. Because I watched that thing. The minute they pick the ball up, the first thing he does is he took his head up and what am I seeing?
Yeah.
What
am I seeing in front of me?
Players like that, they dream. See, I was that's why I brought Bruno into the conversation. Bruno picks that pass even when his eyes is closed. Even if Bruno is sleeping and you wake him up in that position and give him the ball, Bruno will just play the pass into the space, even if he doesn't see anybody. Because that's what they do. They understand that.
That's their
space. You cannot let that space for players like that. Fabregas will roast you for every day.
Oh my God. Fabregas, that's his job in the team. And if you remember all the great strikers, and I like the point you made about Gyökeres, and that's the point I wanted to make. I wanted to make 2 points, and it was the second one, right? Eze plays with Mateta, right? And Mateta plays by running the channels. You get. And Malang Sarr, the other Sarr guy. Those 2 players are players that Eze has played with for the last 2 years. So his remit in the team is that don't waste those guys' runs.
Mm-hmm.
Once those guys make those runs, your job is to find
Kill the
them.
ball.
Right? And the point about Gyökeres, I was watching in the build-up to the Man City game, the United Derby. I was watching the Sporting Lisbon Man City game. And I was watching the runs that Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres scored a hat-trick in that game, something like that, something funny like that. Yeah. I want you to go and look at the goals again. Two of those goals were goals that he ran, they passed the ball into space, right? And his job is to arrive onto the ball and cause chaos. Like, I think that Gyökeres will score goals more from playing it into, like utilize me, like, let the ball arrive when I am trying to bully the defender. Like, let the ball arrive there. So, I think that Arsenal, yes, Arsenal has the structure, but the best teams must adapt to the players they buy as well. Because what I find now is that
It's as simple as that.
he's making the runs. You are also not trying to. You are like no. You adapt to us. No. It's a compromise. The team will adapt to Gyökeres. Gyökeres will have to adapt to the team. But I think the most important thing is that you have to use the runs he makes. And when you play Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and Merino, they would never make that pass because that pass is against the structural discipline of the team. So for me, that is very important going forward. And I made a point. I said, look, 5 games in, Arsenal are 5 points off Liverpool, right? 5 points off Liverpool. Going by the antecedents of how Arsenal don't capitalize on slip-ups, do you see that point increasing or decreasing? Any?
Yeah, obviously, it's still early,
No. It's not a
on
trick
in the
question, right?
season, and
And
no, I understand. I know. It's early on in the season. Obviously, you would rather be closer than be far away with the way Liverpool are going. Liverpool haven't even hit any gears yet, but they won all 5. You could argue that they've been fortunate in some of them, but the table doesn't lie. They've won the games. They've won 5 games. So that's the problem. You get the sense that Isak will get into flow. You get into sense that Salah will at some point hit the ground again. So that's the worrying point. To be 5 points off at this stage of the season, it's just 5 matches. I know Liverpool will drop points, but you will also drop points. So
exactly.
so you will also drop points. You can't win every game. So I just feel like they need to start. The manager needs to change now. With that mindset
Now that it's
of
early.
being safe. He cannot afford to play like this again. He cannot afford to do this kind of thing. He needs to change. He needs to. And thankfully, yesterday he reacted early. In fairness to him, at halftime he said, "You know what? I didn't like I didn't like the fact that he took Madueke off. I didn't like it. I think he could have allowed Madueke a little time on the pitch and brought Saka in maybe in the 60th minute. But also you see what Saka can do. Saka is not just about running. Saka draws people to himself and plays people passes into spaces
There's a little
for
more
other
end
people.
products.
But I would have allowed Maverick a little on in the pitch. But like the question you asked,
I'd have taken off Trossard instead.
Yeah, well, I would have taken off Trossard. If you wanted to take someone off at the halftime, it would have been Trossard. I'll take Madueke to the left and put Saka on the right. Or what you have is Eze. You have 2 wingers that Eze can play passes to. He can play them in. So Arteta needs to change now, because if he doesn't change now, if he keeps playing this team with the handbrake, I really doubt Arsenal would be anywhere near Liverpool at the end of the season.
I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you. Yeah, I want us to touch before Rufai comes back. I want us to touch base on obviously United Chelsea, right? And of course, from a United perspective, and I don't know if Rufai can hear us.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, Rufai, we're wrapping up on the Arsenal Liverpool, on the Arsenal Man City conversation, right? So let's have your thoughts, final thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think everything was spoken about, makes sense. When Madueke was the brightest spark on the pitch for Arsenal in the first half, why take him off? If you're going to bring off someone for Saka, because obviously Saka has a little bit more end product. Take Madueke to the right. We've seen Madueke can be devastating there as well. Now the thing is, when Madueke plays on take him to the left. When he plays on the right, he plays with the responsibility to try and go past his man and still shoot. When you take him to the right, because he cuts onto his right when he goes to the right side of the pitch, or the left side of the pitch, sorry, and he can't shoot with his right. So he now plays with a little bit more responsibility to pass. So when he gets past people, he can pick a pass from that side of the pitch, and he can also
Can you
defend.
still
He
hear
can do a
Rufai?
decent
I
job
can't hear
defending for you.
Rufai,
That's what you want as well.
but he was
So
talking,
Yeah,
it
but
was a
I
bit
think
strange,
network has yacked him off a
bringing
little
him
bit.
bringing him off
Knowing how the
after
app
the first
works,
half.
I'm sure he'll make his points and yeah. But just on Man City, and I think I mentioned this thing last week or 2 weeks ago that the addition of Pep Blinders into the Man City setup is showing. I honestly think, and I said this last year, I think that Pep regrets taking that contract, the 2-year extension. And you know how you go to the market to buy stuff, right? You go to buy stuff in the market and you pay for something and you go home feeling like, man, I think I didn't make a good deal. That kind of thing. I think I should have walked away. I personally feel like
after that Champions League, you should have walked away.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think you should.
after that Champions League, I mean, you won Champions League, you won 5 Premier Leagues on the bounce. Come on,
Yeah.
or 4 Premier League on the bounce. That should have been it. There's nothing more to do again. Don't wait till they start beating you 5-1 and 4-0. But it was. I think that it was emotional. It was an emotional contract. He wanted to stay because of the 115 charges. I think that was the main reason he stayed, because he didn't want to run away. He didn't want to feel like, oh, I'm running away when things are hard and all of that. But City, City just have Haaland. City just have Haaland. Like they just have Haaland. Because of Haaland, City are going to win a lot of matches this season just because of Haaland. Just on that, because of that, because the goal Haaland scored yesterday, he didn't look like Arsenal in a bad shape until
Only Haaland can score that goal.
Like the
Only
only
Haaland can score that goal.
reason that goal happened is because of Haaland. Because Arsenal never look like they are. I don't think there's anybody can play Arsenal and Arsenal look out of shape because of the way this team is structured. But Haaland just plays a pass and the next thing he moves. Like he moves, he was moving like a tracer bullet. Like the minute he moved, and Arsenal, the minute he moved, I just knew it was a goal. And how many times? And I watched what's his name? The guy that played the pass, the Dutch guy. I watched that guy in Syria many times, and believe me, the minute he moved, I just said they scored Arsenal, because I've seen him many times in Syria. He delays. He looks like he doesn't know what to do. He's not. He was so sure what he wanted to do. He just wanted to suck the Arsenal players in and play the pass, and it was a perfect pass, and Haaland finished it so beautifully. So Man City, because of Haaland is just going to keep making those incredible runs, and he's going to keep scoring goals. But in terms of team, I think that they are there for the taking. I saw them against Spurs, and I thought they were there for the taking. Against Brighton, they're there for any team that is aggressive in the final third is going to score goals against Man City. United lost 3-0, and obviously the scoreline looks deceptive. But United had a lot of chances. They had a lot of good openings that game could have been, maybe they could have won, but that game could have been 4-3. They could have considered a lot of goals if United took their chances. So on City, I don't really think they will be challengers. I really don't think. I think they'll be in the top 4. I think they'll be in and around. But there's a weakness in the team all round that doesn't just quite make it feel like, because Pep to line 11 players behind the ball just tells you that he recognizes where the team is at. Because if they went pound to pound, it would have been 5-1. He knows that.
I tell you what, right? And I think this is the points we always try to make on the podcast, where about managers understanding where the team is, and sometimes the fans don't understand where the team is because the managers train the teams every day. They know the team's capabilities. What we witnessed over the last decade in the Premier League is one team that has overwhelming quality. Now, that's not the same thing as having, top quality. It's not the same thing.
Mm. Yeah.
What City had over the last decade was
It was
overwhelming
overwhelming. It
quality.
wasn't
Where,
top quality. I like that.
the operating word is overwhelming, where you have an overflow of quality, where you have Bernardo Silva in his prime, you have Aguero in his prime, you have Haaland in his prime, you have Riyad Mahrez in his prime, you have Jack Grealish in his prime, you have Rodri in his prime, you have Gundogan in his prime, you have De Bruyne in his prime, you have David Silva in his prime. That's an overload of quality. That's too much. No team, the league cannot handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now you have dropped off. Now you have shaped, it's like you have shaved the icing of the cake. Now I want to use the cake analogy. A cake is a cake, right? What makes the cake is not the icing. But when you say the icing on the cake, right, it's like you didn't have to, but we'll take it because the cake is already there. Man City for the last 10 years have had the icing on the cake for too long, right? Now that icing has now been brushed off. So you now have a cake. Now other teams have cake as well. So let's play. You understand? You have good players, I have good players, let's play. So ultimately, sometimes I will beat you well, right? So now what we're seeing is that with Haaland's 5 goals in the team, or 6 goals, I saw a stat, it's Haaland's worst start to Premier League season. But naturally, somebody else, maybe De Bruyne would have scored 2 by now, or scored 4-2. Or, Mahrez would have scored 1. They would have been top of the table. Do you understand? So, because Haaland is not doing anything differently. Haaland is still scoring the goals he's scoring. Like, that is quite clear. Haaland is still popping. But that overwhelming quality is not there anymore. So now, the manager knows that, in games, though, if Haaland score, it's still not enough to guarantee us a win. So we have to be more, we have to go back a little bit.
Let me tell you.
And, yeah.
If this team, the amount of papering that Haaland is doing for this team, I think people, it is now that people would see. You have come down to the level of what a big team can possibly do in terms of bringing in talent. Because it's not as if you've not brought in talent. The January before last summer, you brought in, a number of players. This last summer, you brought in, a number of players. Now, those players are not on the level of the ones you used to have. Because if what we've been saying, if it doesn't make sense, every other club should have gotten a guy that's on the level of David Silva or Kevin De Bruyne or Fernandinho but you can clearly see.
Forget Fernandinho said.
You understand? You can clearly see that these guys were on a completely different level, now playing in the same team. So now, if Haaland wasn't in this team, you would further see how much of a difference it would, because Haaland is the one mistake Arsenal made yesterday. One mistake, he punished it. That's the only mistake Arsenal made. And you will never find another striker like that anywhere currently in Europe. You will never find it.
That's it. Immediately after the goal, I tweeted, I said, Haaland if Isak is worth 120, Haaland is worth 250 million pounds. Easily.
Bro.
I don't know a striker in the world, that once he's one-on-one, change the scoreboard, change it. See, when Haaland is one-on-one your goalkeeper, edit the scoreboard.
Change the scoreboard.
I'm serious, is there any of us here? Is there any of us here that didn't know that was a goal?
Bro,
see the first touch. The first touch was with his left leg. He didn't touch the ball with his left leg. The ball is striker with his right leg. He was off running. He knows saying a goal, bro. Honestly, I don't remember. I've seen some great strikers. All of us have seen some great strikers. But I don't know that aside maybe Cristiano. I don't know that I remember any other player that in front of one-on-one. I don't remember.
The appetite to score goals. The appetite to score goals, with Haaland is just scary, and
It's too
he
much.
keeps
It's
breaking
too.
records. It's just too scary. The records, when it feels like when the Haaland scores a goal now, it feels like he's breaking records every game. He's breaking records. First to do this, first to do that, first to do like it's just scary. And with him, it's just the fact that he's very. And make no mistake about it, he's become a better player at Man City. He was not a very good player, at Dortmund. He was just about
No,
goals.
no, no,
But at Man
no, no,
City,
no, I disagree with that actually. I disagree with
no.
that.
His link-up play has become so good. He can now hold the
No,
ball.
let me
Link-up
come in
play.
here. Let me come in here. What I think, let me help you there. When Haaland joined Man City, what I remember Haaland for was not just being a box 18 striker. Obviously he's like supreme in the box 18. But I remember him, Sancho, and those other guys always doing like some mad counter-attacking runs. At Man City, he became like overfed with quality, like delivery day. Like the brother not go find me anywhere. So all I just need to do is focus my energy on the far post, arrive. What he did yesterday was more reminiscent for me of the Haaland I remember from Dortmund, where he would use his pace from deep to arrive. That's one thing I thought I was lacking because Haaland used to get criticized. I mean, at the point they called him a League Two player because he was shit with link up, right? He wouldn't bother to try. Like he would have only 20 touches in the game. But yesterday he was doing defending. In the Man United game, there was a sequence of play where he defended, he headed the ball out 3 times. And the only reason you're comfortable doing that is because you are willing to put in the work that if the ball drops here, I'm willing to run forward. Before, Haaland was just like, you know what? You guys sort it out in the back, find me, I'll score. That's it. But I think now he's more now reverting to type where he's like, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna willing to put myself about, run the channels, and because that goal doesn't happen if Haaland doesn't run the channel. Right? He literally puts his head down, but Gabriel Posho and Taya.
Gabriel knew it was a lost battle. He knew, like,
But
the minute he started running,
Gabriel is not slow. Gabriel is not slow.
I've been watching the World Athletics Championship that ended yesterday, and I love good athletes. The 100 meters, 200 meters, and every now and then you always like a good race. The minute Haaland set off and Gabriel was behind him, I just told Gabriel, my brother, don't waste your energy. Just let it go.
And Gabriel is not slow.
And
Gabriel is not slow.
He's not slow. But this boy is just the guy start car. They drive, him they carry leg, they run, follow car.
How make you want to carry race start early in the game, bro?
No, it was scary. It was
like,
scary.
it was similar to United. The third goal he scored against United, right? Bro, even though that one, Baba, he didn't run. I said, Maguire, please don't. We know that.
Don't stress yourself. Just
leave it.
No, you have been beaten. Just accept that you've been beaten. Just let
Call your teammates. Let's regroup, bro. Anyway, let's touch on the Chelsea game, right? Because in the build up to that game, I had the opinion, I was having a back and forth with Emeka where we're talking in the DMs and we just, I think where we left the chats was we want to see how the team will set up, right? Whether we get beat or not, let's see how the team will set up. And in the group before the game, I made it up. There was a post in the forum in the WhatsApp forum, and it was about Maguire made an interview and said United pretty much play, in a 4. And a lot of people have made this misconception, but that's not even important. The way the team started the game for me was the same way we started the game against Arsenal, where the game starts right, and if you are not on song, if you're not tuned in to the maximum, that's the most point that we can score a goal.
Yeah.
And I thought United were brilliant in that phase of play. I'm going to say, the red card is important, but before the red card, people forget that Mbeumo actually tested the goalkeeper before the red card. People forget that before the red card, Mbeumo actually made a save out of Sanchez, It was a
Yeah,
double
yeah, yeah.
cross.
The ball that
Sesko
Sesko almost got to, and I was surprised Sesko didn't
almost
get to
got to.
that. I was surprised. But I thought it was a
You know,
I thought it was a really good. I
yep,
think it was Dogwood that crossed it. I thought it was a really good
it was
ball.
Jogo, yeah.
I thought it was a really good ball. And I agree with the fact that United started the game the same way they started with Arsenal. They were pressing high up the pitch. They were very aggressive. And Chelsea were not settling in the game. And usually, make no mistake about it, I know we can criticize Sanchez all you want. You can, and I think it was a really silly decision to make. But the reality is that it is the way the game started that made Sanchez make that decision. He just Chelsea was unsettled in that moment, because United were, they were pressing, they had a save from Mbeumo had a save from the goalkeeper. United were really, really pressing. They were really, really trying to score a goal early on in the game, and the tempo of the game got to Sanchez, and it was like, oh, really, this guy? Because I do not understand why. First things first, the ball is played, it's a long ball. Sesko wins the ball, and it was brilliant anticipation by Mbeumo. Brilliant anticipation, because when the ball goes up like that, usually when a defender goes to challenge the ball, the second ball
You expect
the second ball is very important. And that awareness, and Mbeumo does that a lot. He understands when the ball goes like that, he makes a very good run. And that red card just, in a way, spoils the game. But you have to give credit to the way United started the game. You have to give credit to the way the United started. That level of intensity, with the crowd, they got the crowd going, the players were there. And it allowed United to get into the game, and for once, it felt like a reward. That red card felt like a reward because it wasn't a goal, but it felt like a reward. We have forced them to make an error.
yeah.
In the end, people say, oh, but it was with 10 men. No, you started with 11 men. You started with 11
You get
men.
anytime, for the game. They start the game and say, Chelsea,
You started with 11 men.
let's see how good you are. Bring one person out.
You started with 11 men. You fell foul of the law and you left the pitch. So it's not like you're not. It's not. People say, I can understand if the red card is unjustified. We can say, okay, it was unjustified. But you started with 11 men, and that's where Chelsea should take responsibility. Because United forced you to make an error, and you got sent off. But also, it is, obviously, in the final embers of the game, United started tiring out, and Chelsea started pressing, and the Casemiro red card, and Casemiro was silly. By the way, you cannot get
Brainless. Brainless.
He was silly. You cannot get that sort of red card when your opponent has just gotten a red card, where you should mount pressure.
You said, say, you know what? I don't like injustice. I don't like when it is.
You want?
I don't stand for justice.
So it allowed Chelsea to come back into the game, but United defensively, they were because Chelsea were piling so much pressure in the last moment. I thought Maguire did really well. Every now and then we don't give him credit, but I thought he did really well.
It was towering. I want to make a couple of points, and I'll touch on United, but touch on Chelsea as well. But I think what I find is that a lot of people, and this is again, everybody does this hate watch, but I think that if you go back to the games United have played, just 5 games of the season, go back to the games United have played. The Fulham game, we had a penalty. If we scored a penalty, right, we win that game. If we scored a penalty, we win the game. So for me, United will easily be on 9 points at the moment, right? Easily on 9 points. This entire narrative doesn't exist, right? The one game we played badly, for me, it was against Man City. That's game. They played that game badly. But if you watch United games, that run Mbeumo makes that run at least 5-6 times in the game, where he's just like, I'm going to stretch the team. I'm going to stretch this team. Like, you might think it's a waste, but that binder pass is not a clearance. It's a deliberate. That's how United play under Amorim. When they can't play from the back, the next option to activate the long ball, because Mbeumo is going to make that run. And I think in fairness,
you've
Sanchez,
got a
in,
6 foot you've got a 6 foot centre forward who can flick balls on, you can win headers. So
exactly.
you've
In,
got to play to his
in,
strength.
in fairness, Sanchez, I think he believes that Chaloba would win the header.
Of course. And
I, I actually
that's what I'm
think he
saying,
believes,
that he was
yeah,
surprised. It was a chaos in the first,
he,
because he was like, they've lost the header. Let me clear the ball.
exactly. Exactly. So, but in terms of the overall play, I think at the moment Chelsea are a better team than United,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Just not in terms of, well, you can speak about the player for player, that's a different argument, but in terms of mentality, Chelsea are the one team, and I'm saying it now, that they are comfortable going a goal down in the game, and they know that they will come back in the game. I've seen they
That's
played it too many times.
Maresca said it now. He said, I'm happy to be 1-0 down in the 5th minute than to be a man
You
down in the
get,
5th minute. You know, it's
yeah,
Chelsea
yeah,
with the amount of young players they have in the team. You know, it feels like, you know, I think we've said this thing before. It feels like we're all peers. You know, so we're working for the team. There's no ego. There's nobody feeling like I'm Messi
yeah,
and Ronaldo. Everybody's at the same. Obviously, there are a few players who are obviously head and shoulder above the rest. But in terms of, you know, the mentality, you know, they are at the same place. So it's not a problem for them to be 1-0 down. We would fight our way back into the game. We have the quality
yeah.
to do that. But the red card, you know, Sanchez just left the team a
But
mountain to climb.
the record is one thing. The record is one thing, but Chelsea fans are speaking about the managers. We talk about Arteta's mentality, right? What do you make of Maresca's? Because he can say, you know what, I prefer that you let Mbeumo score the goal and we're 1 goal down inside 5 minutes. But what does that say about him as well, right? To make that avalanche of substitutions, right? Because I was surprised. I was surprised that when I saw Neto come off, I knew we were going to win the game. When I saw Neto come off, I was like, first of all, right, Maguire is on the pitch, right? So he's not the fastest centre back. All you need to do is put Neto. The same thing we say about Mbeumo is the same thing I can say about Neto. Neto is a guy that will run until you literally draw him off the pitch, right? So if I was going to leave anybody on the pitch, I'd rather, obviously you can't take Kopama because he's your best player, right? But I think I'd rather leave Neto on the pitch, no matter what happens. I'd rather Neto plays closer inside midfield, but I know that if we break, I know that he has space to run for days, and especially with those conditions. So I felt like
surprised. When he took Esteval off, actually I predicted it. I said he's going to take Esteval off. He's a young player. You know, young player hasn't played in the league for so long and all of that. Understandable. You can't take Kopama off. Kopama was injury. It was injury that forced him off. But when he took Neto off, I was like, what on earth is he smoking? Like, you have an outlet, you have a player with that amount of pace, you know, on the break with 10 men. Because usually when you go down to 10 men, what you need as a team is somebody who can either hold the ball up very well, a striker who can hold the ball up very well, and an outlet who can run. Now you have João Pedro up front, who's very good with holding the ball. You have Neto on the pitch who can just run for the ages.
Yeah.
And you take Neto off. The minute you took Neto off, I said, what is he thinking? Like, what is he thinking in that moment? Like that Neto was very upset. Obviously, because as a team, yeah, defensively, we have a good midfield, you know. We have a good midfield. We are solid, you know. It's just the goalkeeper that has been taken off, you know. So you take the young player off and put the goalkeeper. That's fine. Leave the team at least for the first 45 minutes. And it was a panic substitution. I don't know what he was thinking, and he just literally in that moment gave the game away. He decided that, you know what, we've lost this game, even though he won't admit it. But that substitution just told me that this guy either wants to get a point out of this game, or he just doesn't believe that, or maybe he just wants to damage the limitation. You know, it just feels like limit the damage rather. You know,
Yeah.
limit the damage of the game. Oh, let's not lose 4-0. Let's not lose 5-0. Let's keep the results respectable. And it was a very poor substitution, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I was surprised because I think that I've come to respect well, I'm building some respect for his tactical, management of the team. I watched Maresca, and I think that what I find the most admirable about him is I saw a comment he made last week. He said we asked him about Sterling, and and he said, "Look, my father is a fisherman for 50 years. What footballers do is not hard." So I've come to like his candor. I've come to appreciate his candor, but I've also liked his ability to be flexible tactically and try things that are not outlandish, but in line with common sense. I think he does a lot of common sense things. That was one of the things that was what that substitution was not in line with common sense. It was
Yeah.
like it was more or less a panic, like because the game was still 0-0 at the time. It wasn't
Yeah.
1-0, so it's not damage limitation. That's panic. That's you pressing panic.
Mm.
You understand? Allow the game, watch the game for another 10 minutes and say, you know what? These guys are overloading here, they're overloading here. Right? So I need to react to that. But he made United's job easier. What normally happens is that you wait and see what the opposition is going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment he made that sub, I was like, the game is done. You understand? So anyway, that's that for that. I mean, you watch the Liverpool game. I was telling Wale that Liverpool. I was telling Wale 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that Liverpool have this. There's something in Liverpool's brain, right? The players that come what may. When the final whistle is blown,
We'll be there.
when you blow that final whistle, we will be the ones walking off with 3 points. I don't know how to explain it. I'll probably find the word, but it's just there is a finality about their approach to football matches. It's like the decision has been made already. We will win the game because how Liverpool won that game, right? I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what you made of it.
It is, and the Bournemouth game. Let's even start from the opening game of the season. At 2-2, when Bournemouth scored 2-2, I was screaming my lungs out. I said, "Come on, you Bournemouth!" I was really excited. But Liverpool have proven over and over again that they find the resources. They just find a way to break you down. They just find a way, and it's just incredible because last season it was the Mo Salah show. It was just Mo Salah. But this season, it's not just the Mo Salah show. Obviously, Mo Salah is making huge contributions as well. The assist for Gravenberch's goal against Everton was outstanding. He just knows how to pick a pass. And Liverpool are just finding the way. They're not playing particularly well. They played 5 matches this season. I'm not sure they deserve to win 3. 3 of those matches. They didn't deserve to win against Newcastle. Surely. They didn't deserve to beat Burnley. They didn't deserve to beat Arsenal. Surely they didn't deserve to win some of those matches. But they just have the mentality that we're going to find a way, regardless of how we play. And it's just what winning does for you. When you win, the confidence you have, the manager, it feels like the team is just in sync. They just believe, incredible self-belief in the team that we just have to find a way to win football matches. And it's outstanding. And I hope it doesn't continue from an Arsenal perspective.
I think the word I'm looking for is they're a team on a mission. Like the mission, the word is mission. The mission in front of them, it negates the process for Liverpool. That's how I see them. Like the in betweens are not important, right? The mission today is to go and win. And we'll go and win. And of course they'll come on stock at some point in time. You're not always going to win games at the death or something like that.
Yeah.
But what they have done in 5 matches, they probably won 3 games at the death, right? That's 9 points that could be very crucial, right, at any time of the season.
Yeah.
It could be crucial during the very
incredible because it's 9 points that could have been 3 points. Like
it could have 9 points that could have been 3 points or 0.
Like he's incredible. He's incredible, and massive
Yeah,
credit to them.
yeah.
Massive credit
Massive
to them
credit to
because
Liverpool. Yeah. I
I
want.
just feel like when the season started, and with the recruitment they made, I felt like they're obviously going to be stronger. They're obviously going to be stronger because of the quality they brought up front, but they obviously still have defensive issues. They're giving away a lot of chances, and all of that. But the mentality in the team and mentality, in my opinion, is very key. We're not going to be
It's the most important thing.
mentality. We're not going to be the most fluid of sides. We're not going to obviously play champagne football all the time. But the important thing is we are going to win football matches. Whether we play well or not. When we play well, obviously our quality will give us the 3 points. When we do not play well, our mentality will give us the 3 points. So they just know it. They just know that
I like that.
when
I like that.
when we get on the pitch, we are going to find a way to score goals and win football matches. And huge credit to them.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I don't think there's anything better than 11 players who really believe in their heart of hearts that they have an obligation to win. Right? It's different from we have a mandate to win, but they have an obligation to win. They really believe in that. I want to ask you what you're making of this Isak Ekitike situation. If you're slots, right? If you're slots, what do you do? Like one pump is firing well, right? And the popular saying in the world is if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Fix it. Yeah, of course.
Don't fix it, right? If Slots goes against the grain and puts Isak into the team forcefully, that will be going against common sense, right?
Yeah.
So what that now leaves us is Isak would have to, whatever minute he has to play, prove that I am overwhelmingly better than this guy to start.
Yeah, of course.
I have to be the one that the manager starts.
Yeah.
But I don't know at the moment that if you ask Liverpool fans, do we go with the natural thing of this is a better player, let's take him out and put this one? I think if I'm a Liverpool fan, I say, you know what, make Isak relax first. Because say you get sense, you would have solved your transfer issue early. Don't come and cause problems for us where we don't have one. We have a team now that's winning. Right? So pay for the sins of you and your club. For now, we made a plan B. Our plan B is firing. And as far as the plan B is firing for me, I'm not going to revert to the plan A.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
And it's not even good for team structures. When players, play on the back of just reputation, it doesn't help the team, because the guy that has been brought in as a plan B is doing the job. He's getting the business done, So if you take him out of the team, there are some people inside the team who would be, obviously Isak is the better player, but that people like, this guy's hit the ground running. He's firing. So you can't take him out of the team yet. Isak has to, like you said, Isak has to, when he comes off the bench, he has to prove that he has the right. Liverpool plays Southampton tomorrow in the League Cup, and I'm very sure Isak will start that. He needs to start scoring. He needs to start. Obviously he didn't have any preseason, didn't play anything.
Yeah.
So it would take a little bit of a while for him to get back up to speed. But for now, Ekitike has to start because he's scoring. He's had the chances are falling for him and he's taking them. So you cannot take him out of the side because for team unity, you do not want to just upset the balance in that team at the moment. So Isak will calm down first. He like you said, he should have sorted his life out better. All this while when you start to cause for June, you would have started it in May. All this fight, if you have started the fight in May, say this holiday that I'm going, please, I'm not coming back to this club.
I'm not coming back here.
You would have told them clearly, because the reason he started that fight is because Liverpool have gone and told his agent, we are going to put in the money, so start the fight. That fight should have started since. So he's the reason he's not in the first team. So he has to earn the right to play in the first team. reputation doesn't work. And if the manager takes Ekitike out and puts him, I know he's not a serious person. I know he's joking with the job, because all of a sudden, because that's small thing they start fight for team. I'm the one,
Bro.
that's small thing. I'm the one scoring goals, but you're bringing in a player because you bought him for how much money? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Is that not the same thing that happened with Shevchenko with Chelsea that year?
Yeah.
Shevchenko was, I think, from rumors, they said Mourinho didn't want Shevchenko, but Shevchenko was Abramovich's friend. So
Abramovich
Abramovich
is
brought him. That's why trouble will start for team. Now, small thing they cause problem for team. So I don't think it makes any sense, to take this guy out of the team. You cannot, because he's doing the job.
The only way, and I remember when Van Persie just joined United, and Fergie was already beginning to plan for life without Rooney, because Fergie was bent on pushing Rooney out of United. And people were like, Van Persie, obviously, as Van Persie arrived, he say, now Rooney Rooney's a better player, right? I might be a better goal scorer, but Rooney's a better player. I think I arrived like this. And ever cross the first ball, in the first score, say, that trap we wanted for me, I will not enter inside it.
Oh no, Van Persie has to be. Obviously he didn't score.
That is the best debut. That is the best debut season I've ever seen in my life.
See, when I obviously Haaland came into Man City and his numbers were incredible. But Van Persie, if you ever, because I don't believe there's anything like single-handedly won.
Haaland's debut is better, yeah.
I can't say I don't like it when they say, he single-handedly won the trophy for the team. I don't believe that. But if there's anytime that word single-handedly works, is that Van Persie signing. Like, I still remember the game at Southampton where he scored 2 goals. He scored 2 goals away. And then the game at Man City where he spent a last-minute free kick into the bottom corner. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I remember one British pundit, he said, when Arsenal sold Van Persie to Man United, they literally sold the Premier League title to United. Like, when he scored that free kick against Manchester, like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, that wins you title. And funnily, this was like, that goal was in like, I think it was August, September or October, early on in the season, when he scored the free kick. I said, United have won the title. There is no stopping this team. When a player comes into the club like this, and immediately he's making his mark in key games. I mean, it's incredible. And
that's what
Fergie, Fergie was, Fergie, obviously, I was having an argument with somebody. Would Fergie be able to cope with the modern game? And I'm of the opinion that he will struggle, not because of his ability, but because of the kind of players we have now, the mentality of the players we have now. He probably struggle with this kind of players. That's the same thing that's happening with Mourinho. Mourinho is not finding players who are at his level, in terms of mentality. You just have players who just want to play football and earn good money and all of that. But the kind of mindset Fergie had in his football, in terms of in his transfer dealings, and obviously he got it wrong with a few transfer dealings, but the mindset Fergie had was, you are just going to have the best players. You're going to find the best players and the best players in the league. We're going to go look for players in the league. Fergie was signing players from Arsenal, going to Tottenham, go to Tottenham, buy Berbatov, go to Arsenal, buy Van Persie. He was signing the best players in the league who didn't need time to, because Van Persie, bro, that signing, no, he has to be one of the greatest signings in the Premier League. From one Premier League club to another.
That's why when people hate watch United, I say a United fan get angry. I say people don't understand the kind of havoc that people will cause get for a sustained period of time. You understand? So honestly, I understand it completely.
Yeah, people actually enjoy that United are suffering, because United carry our eye, see suffering. Like, we see suffering from them. Like,
people have suffered, right? But I think that United put, like, when you have a stranglehold on the league, and but was the referee agenda. But when they give United a free kick, we say a free kick no day inside. I say, thank you, man. Thank you,
No,
my brother. This is a good one.
there was a start when I'm not quite sure. When I think Liverpool beat Man U at Old Trafford in 2004. I don't watch football teacher. 2004, Liverpool beat Man United 1-0 at Old Trafford. And it was Danny Murphy who scored the winning penalty. When that penalty was awarded, I remember the commentator saying that was the first time a penalty was awarded against Man United at Old Trafford in 10 years. Bro, 10 years. 10 years. Penalty. So people used to add these things and think that, referee, but legit. United were not paying referees, obviously. But those referees used to fear Fergie. Like, they used to fear Ferguson. Like, they make Ferguson start from media, they insult you. No. They're legit
No,
scared of the
but
guy.
also, I keep saying it that in the end, football. That's why football is a human being sport, right? And a
Yeah,
human being is the referee the game.
of
You
course.
understand? At Man City, the amount of penalties that Man City they get,
Yeah, of course.
like it's like when you are champion, when you are champion. If champion, let's say you knock champion down inside the ring, then the count is 8 seconds count or 7 seconds count. If by 7 seconds you never stand up, the referee will slow in count down. Say, this is champion, no. This is champion. So it's just a human being thing where you're like, no, something must be wrong. Champion, are you okay? You get. So for me, I think that's it. That's it. It's like this Yamal boy now. If Yamal fall, you go think and say, this boy go dribble this guy normally. So what do you make him fall? Messi, do you know how many freaking Messi they win that year? What's he gonna do something? What's he gonna do? I said,
If you touch Messi small like this, it be like say you slap baby. You say you kick.
Again. That time backup players. Backup players go just stand, he go hold and he go fall. What's the problem? So because when they win, we don't go mark again. We don't go mark again. I'm telling you. So, bro, see that Van Persie red card against Barca. You get. What's he gonna make you give red card for that kind of situation?
I want referees they mad sometimes. Honestly, referees they mad.
Bro, referees make you give red card. But speaking of which, right? This Ballon d'Or this night, right? I mean tomorrow.
I get Lamine Yamal is winning it. I hope not. Not.
See, it's because of hindsight podcast that I ever speak about Ballon d'Or. I have resigned. I
really hope not. Because
I feel like
for the year Usman Dembele has had, Usman Dembele has had, it would be an absolute travesty. For the year
it has been already.
For the year Usman Dembele has had, the goals he scored, Champions League.
You cannot see your face now. Remove your face first. Wale, I can't see your face, so. Can you see Wale?
No, I can't see him.
Wale, how does it make sense that you're talking and we can't see your face?
We can't see Wale. Let's see so that we can look at your mouth and see if you are talking nonsense.
Right. But the reason is storm now. It's postponed now. It's called a storm now. It's a storm. No. I honestly feel like they've. I saw a rollout. I saw a story, and I know that it's a rollout. I have the very, very unique ability to sieve out, information, which is an agenda. I saw a rollout 1 week or 2 weeks ago. They said a journalist declined PSG's offer or Usman Dembele's agent's offer to propagate him as the Ballon d'Or, winner. And when I see things like that, right, out of the blue, from nowhere, I suspect that they are hedging for the crime they are about to commit. Do you understand? Because I've been seeing some anti-Usman Dembele, stories in the media, and I can only point to one direction, that these guys, they won't rob this guy. They won't rob. In the same vein, I've also seen more media houses say that Lamine Yamal deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. At the end of last season, it was a unanimous assessment that nobody deserves anything better than Usman Dembele. So all of a sudden now, 2 weeks to the award, I've seen people say, "Oh, Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world." There's no doubt about that. I can tell that it is briefing. It's briefing. It's pure briefing. Do you get? But for me, honestly, I'm not interested, because I don't need the Ballon d'Or. I don't need the Ballon d'Or as an organization to tell me who I think deserves to be the best player in the world.
I didn't watch football now.
The best player in the world, right, is Usman Dembele, like from last year. Now going forward, it's a different conversation, right? When Lewandowski, when they denied Lewandowski the award this time, I was like, it's the biggest travesty in football.
It is,
right?
actually. It is.
That Lewandowski
now highway robbery.
Pure robbery. You say you don't do the award that year.
Like he was.
But when you came back, you were doing tournaments. And naming it, backdating the tournament's name. But you could not do the Ballon d'Or and backdate it and say, we know that Lewandowski deserved to be Ballon d'Or in 2020.
No, he was.
Let's do another tournament and give it to him. Because it's simple. At the next award, you should just simply have said, you know what, Lewandowski, this is your award. You won it last year.
Simple.
So when they want slide player,
that next year, give Lewandowski
that night.
Exactly.
You get when they want slide player and they see him, and they set them, and they have set it for Lamine Yamal. They don't slide Dembele now. You don't know. You have not seen the rollout. See, I've been tracking it. I'm tracking it. I've seen more media houses this last 2 weeks, say that no, Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world. When at the end of last year, it was unanimous. Everybody agreed that no. You can't take it from Dembele. I saw a rollout. You were not on the call that time. That somebody said that the journalist rejected Ousmane Dembele's team's attempts to write a story that he deserves to win it. I said, this one, they are hedging. They are hedging. That's the one slide Dembele. But anyway, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see.
We'll see. Sometimes I get confused with even the timeline of the awards, because I don't know. I was on record calling me. No, now I come on. I was on record saying, I would, in terms of how a player makes you feel, I think Lamine Yamal is the best player. I would love him to be. But what Dembele did that last season, what he did with PSG, because we always attribute these awards to the guy that took his team to win this, win that. They basically won the one thing that PSG has been looking to win how many years? He was right in the middle of them winning that title. You can't take that away from him. It's also when we talk about the convention of best and greatest. The award is about, how well you have played this season and what your performance has taken your team to. The team that knocked Lamine Yamal's team out collected 5 from Dembele's team in the final. So those are the nuances, in my opinion. You can't knock what the guy has done, that last season. So yeah, but let's see, like you said, let's see.
I'm on record. I'm on record for at least a decade saying that I think the Ballon d'Or doesn't have a place in football. And an award like that is a tennis award, right? It's a tennis award. You see, football is a team sport. If that is true, you cannot have an individual award that says this is the best player in the world, because there's nothing like best player. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It's like it's an oxymoron, right? If anything qualified more to be an oxymoron, like there are defenders in the game, there are attackers, there's a goalkeeper, there are midfielders. The word player is non-existent. You can have a tennis player because all tennis players do the same thing. They attack for themselves, they defend for themselves, they do all the things for themselves, right? That's why even in team sports where you have individual awards, I still like the way it is being done. In the NBA, for example, you have the MVP, you have the finals MVP award. Like this guy is the MVP of the final, of the 7-game series. There is also the All-Star team. There is also the season MVP as well. Now, that's a team sport that is dedicated to is committed rather to still trying to go against the contradiction that an individual award can have in a team sport.
Yeah.
So for me, awards like that have no place. Awards like that have no place, right? You can say Lamine Yamal is, if you say Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world, right? What is Pedri? Because Pedri does a brief in the game that Lamine Yamal can never do in the game.
Yeah, but
right.
But it's also the reason. But it's also the reason why Ronaldo was winning Ballon d'Ors and Xavi wasn't winning it. You know, it's also the reason.
But that's what I'm saying. The awards, Ballon d'Or awards are never. It's not a non-starter in the game. You can't have a Ballon d'Or award in the game. But anyway, the game is a global game. It's all about marketing and creating conversation. So I understand that bit of it. But yeah, now that you're here, let's take your thoughts on the Chelsea game, right? No,
I think.
What did you make of it?
I think.
I was speaking to Ini, and I said. A lot of people speak about the red card and things like that, but before then, people don't realize that United had tested Sanchez already. Mbeumo had a chance already, right? And effectively, that raised the anxiety levels of the Chelsea team. I believe that in fairness to Sanchez, he actually thinks that Chalobah wins that header, right? But away from all of that, when Maresca makes the Neto substitution, yes, Esteval, I can understand if he's the youngest player in the team, he has to be taken off, that kind of thing. But when he makes the Neto substitution, I'm like, United will win the game. Because when you have a red card, what you want is a player that can hold the ball and a player that can stretch, that can travel with the ball. Pedro can hold the ball and find a pass or draw players to him. Neto can stretch the team. The moment Neto went, I was like, United win.
For me, I think it was a silly game. It was a silly game from Maresca and specifically Sanchez, in my opinion. And at the end of the game, I also felt like, I don't know if this makes sense. I don't feel like it was a game that United deserved to win, but Chelsea didn't deserve to lose. I don't know if that makes sense. So first of all, you can't go into the game with a 6'6", or I don't know how tall Sesko is.
6'5".
And then start Chalobah. Now, because of how Maresca has played since last season and everything, the information I have, I knew that yes, you're trying to pick between pace and height, and you've got a goalkeeper in goal that's 6'6". So you're like, you know what, that should do for the Sesko height. However, when the red card happened, I thought the red card was very stupid. I thought Sanchez was stupid. That's my opinion of it, because you're late already. You're never going to get to the ball. Go there and stand. In fact, allow him score. Even if he rounds you, there's a chance somebody runs and does a goal line clearance. Even if that doesn't happen, let him score. It's not a problem. For me, it was a stupid tackle to make. Now, when you then sub Neto, I hated the Neto substitution. Again, like I said, from the information I have, Maresca was possibly thinking, well, the guy that we have that's tall enough to nullify the Sesko height has now been red carded. So now we need height in defense. But even then, he was panicking because You can't make that sub like you wait the next 5-10 minutes and settle down. I wasn't surprised that United started fast. I knew they were going to start fast because that's how it is. There's hardly a game United will play now that they will not start fast. It is a function of how they attack. However, you've got the red card. 5-10 minutes, see how the game goes. Relax. You don't need to make that Neto sub. In my opinion, yeah, they defend with 5. Neto does a very good job. We were talking about what he did in the Club World Cup final. Basically, almost played like a left back, defending for Cucurella.
Exactly.
He does all that talk about United attack with a 5. So because of the red card, we needed to attack with a 5 and defend with a 5 as well. It didn't make sense. Neto does a very good job defending, and then you can still have him use his pace and take you forward. So it was a stupid substitution. However, the other part of it is that you won't have envisaged Cole Palmer's injury. Cole Palmer had to go out because of injury. So you might have been thinking, you know what, we can do with Palmer being on the pitch, and then Palmer got injured as well. And then, what's his name? Casemiro decided that, I'm going to...
No, Casemiro is a man of justice. He's a man of justice and fairness.
I'm going to cause a problem here, with the red card. I think we should have gotten a penalty. Nobody said what they did to Fulham. They should do it. Since what happened with Fulham has happened against Brentford, who have lost 2 points because somebody that's offside clearly attempted to kick a ball. They said it was not interfering.
Which penalty?
No, the João Pedro tackle was a penalty. It was a clear penalty. Mazuri didn't get to the ball. If initially during the game, I felt like, relax now. I will send you the clip on the group. Initially during the game, I was like, Mazuri touched the ball, so that's why they didn't go to it. After the game, Mazuri didn't touch the ball at all. It was João Pedro that knocked the ball, and then Mazuri knocked him down. So it was, when you look at the penalty that we got, that was against Chelsea against Bayern Munich, for example, and I'm thinking the guy didn't get to the ball at all. That's a clear penalty. There is no way you want to swing it. If he has done a tackle from behind and he has not touched the ball, he has not the knee of the attacking player, there is no how you want to swing it that it is not a foul, right? That's on every other part of the pitch is a foul. No, it is a foul. Having said that,
it's not a foul,
it was a silly game. Sanchez destroyed the game, in my opinion. There was no reason for him to go and make a tackle. It was a stupid tackle. And from there on out, I switched off from the game until what's his name? Casemiro decided that let me hand you something here. So in my opinion, it's one of those games where Maresca
Casemiro
messed it up after
he's a man of equity, fairness, and justice. He doesn't like anything that's unfair. So he took it upon himself to make sure that there was equity in the game. Anyway, I think that's it. They say Rashford go miss. Say Rashford. Say they feel like superstar. That Nollywood clip. He won't be superstar. You get.
You don't miss training.
Baba don't go miss training.
You don't miss training.
I'm like, what kind of thing is this? Like, they follow for us. But yeah. Anyway, I think that network has tried for us and not tried for us, especially for don't knock Rufai off like 3 times. But I think it is finally off as well. We'll join in for just a little bit. But I think we can leave it there, right?
Yeah.
We're back on Thursday recording. So thank you guys very much. All the comments for the last episode were really appreciated.
This one, you
guys really enjoyed the Legbete episode. And I think that it's important that you go back to the comment section and see the pinned comments. There's a pinned comment there, and we're appealing, right? As the First Lady appealed, help us build this library. Please, help us build this library. Pretty much, I think it's a GoFundMe. And someone said that you have to be shameless about your hustle. So now we're being shameless. We don't need to get shame since.
Baba, did you see that guy? The guy, what person comment under in comments?
Yeah.
Somebody comment under in comments say,
what guy is that?
They don't know anything. They just have a platform. The guy say, Abego. Bolade, he say, Abego, this boss where you are enter, I don't follow you there. You see say I get member. I get member tag. They talk to me, say they don't get they don't know. Say,
I
I'm
don't even
saying,
see how.
relax, so say these guys, they know
I
their
don't see
stuff
how.
and
I
they
don't see
beg
how.
it.
I don't see how. But
And
please, like, I think that the only Nigerians, Nigerians are evil. Nigerians are evil. We have only 7 members, right? And it's only 1.5 a month. It's only 1.5 a month. Like, I want to ask, right? How much do you think is feasible to pay for a month? You know, because at some point in time, somebody like we must find a way to monetize and make sure that we keep giving you what you want, basically, right? So Elebete was great, and like we dragged him out from his house, So I want to be able to say, you know what, Maoga, thank you so much for coming, right? On behalf
honorable.
of not me, because he knows me personally, right? And he knows that I'm his guy, but on behalf of the TFC community, right? We love what you bring to the table. So take this. So I think that, as a community, it would be nice to say, you know what, everybody that comes and spends time with us in our house, we give them, we buy pawpaw for them, right? Right. So I think that's the reason we're asking for you know those contributions, because it's going to be important going forward. So on YouTube, if you go and if you click the membership tab, it's 1.5 a month. My brothers, 1.5,
Very,
1.5 now 1.5. We're going to talk
my
about
brother.
1.5 now 1.5, right? So just imagine that's like 2 gig data. And you go do it like 4 times in a week, right? And it's just 1.5. So if you do that 1.5, if we have 5,000 people doing 1.5, I mean, it goes a long way. It goes a long way in a month. It goes a long way. We not go they do all this. We not gonna need sponsor. We go call the stress us. You understand? So I think if 5,000 people, we have 10K subscribers. And I know it doesn't always work like that. That time Fuga Kidele say I have a say say
Relax, too.
say I have
This guy,
let me
this
leave
guy,
let me
a madman.
say I say I
Pipe
pipe
blue, I
low.
beg. Pipe blue.
uh,
Oh,
so, but
oh my
honestly, I
God.
do the math. What is the math? If 5K people pay 1.5, like we're good, no? For like that clip that people will like, the season 6, teaser. That clip probably cost. Make I not talk, but that clip didn't cost less than £1 million to make. It didn't cost less than, like, that's I'm being conservative, but again, I can say this because we are one. We are one community, so we know ourselves. We exchange banter with ourselves. But if at the end of this week, those 7 members on the YouTube platform go to 100, I think that it would have been clear that you're putting your money where your mouth is. So let's leave it there. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We can do this Monday episode in the studio, and we can bring a lot more quality. I don't know if you read the Guardian article, but we're currently operating at maybe a fraction of the ideas and the great work that we can put out. So let's leave it there, guys. I want to thank you very much indeed for writing with THP. We thank you so much. We appreciate it. Some people actually even call us and say, you know what, I want to send this amount of money for this. Shout outs to our main man, OG. Constantly behind us and trying to push things in the right direction. We'll see you very soon. Bye bye.